right, who wants to give the automation update?
You want me to do that, Jake? The automation, basically, we have a few more little hiccups, since we met with them again. The pad that we have out there is not adequate on the Andrew Street. We're gonna have to extend it a little bit bigger. When the shed comes down, we're gonna have to pour a bigger pad. Over on
Can you backtrack?
Andrew Street,
Yeah,
where the
no.
shed is,
But why? Why now?
for the gates to work the way it's gonna be, it's
Oh,
gotta
for
be
the
moved.
gates, okay.
Yeah.
So I
And-
thought it's currently working the way it is with the,
Yes,
with the
with the
kiosk.
kiosk.
Okay.
And over on the other side, we're gonna have to make a little bit bigger curb cut, which the DPW could do for us, and a little bit of more fencing. But I'm gonna add into the bidding the work for the padding and stuff, or do we wanna do that separately, as you did down on, the first kiosk? Or do you just wanna
Let's
put it
put it
out to
in the
bid, and let's get it over with and not worry about it?
It was
Oh.
difficult to get somebody to do
Yeah.
it, honestly.
For what? I'm sorry.
To make the pad down there that we have the first, kiosk on.
Right, who did that? Was it,
Water and sewer.
Yeah,
It
so-
cost us a lot of money.
right,
And it was
okay, no.
difficult to get it done.
let's put that out to bid, with it, in the bid.
I would make a recommendation that whatever you do, you do it 100%, not rely on,
Right.
unless there's some special reason, not to rely on anybody to do anything. Whether it's electrical work, whether it's the pad.
I totally agree with that.
Then you got one
Get it-
person you can blame.
Get it done, put it in the
Right.
hands of one company, and hold them accountable for whatever it is they said they were gonna do.
So as I recall, the bid should include two
If we can
gates
get a
on Andrew
motion.
Street.
Yeah.
2 gates on Andrew Street, 2 gates on Buffalo. We're currently moving that kiosk from Andrew Street to Ellis.
Alice.
And there was some other additional charges that went along with that. Can
Yes.
you just bring those up again so Bernice can update it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
As far as the
this is getting
kiosk on Andrew,
confusing.
Well, right
Yeah.
now, we have a kiosk on Andrew Street. That's the only law that's automated.
Okay.
Yeah.
That kiosk, we've later found out, we probably jumped the gun, it's better suited to have gates on Andrew Street and on both sides.
That's what, is that the one you can go in now on Liberty and come out on Andrew?
Correct,
Right,
yes.
correct.
Okay,
That being said, we're also talked about, there'll be a ticket in and then pay on the way out, just so we won't have traffic issues and back up on the street.
okay, I read that.
So, okay,
as far as I agree with what Jay's saying about the cost and stuff, but on this one here, we're gonna wire that kiosk. Mike Donovan from ISD has said he would pay for that and take care of that. That's a separate issue.
on Ellis Street.
Yeah, let's let him do it.
Okay.
The moving of the kiosk, the company we have now would have to probably move it, and we'd get a price to move it.
Okay, and everything's gonna be scheduled all together?
No, that kiosk will stay in place until the gates are up and working,
Okay.
and everything is
Did
done.
you check
makes
with the
sense.
company?
Because I don't think you can electrify that.
You can.
No, let me finish. I don't think you can electrify that kiosk without buying an internal part that allows for the connection to the electricity. At least, that's what I remember.
On
Yeah, but
Ellis?
it's a minor cost.
On Ellis?
Yeah, the current kiosk, whether you leave it there
Yeah.
and move it to Ellis,
Right,
in order to
Because
connect
it's
it to
not connected
electricity,
to electricity right now,
Okay.
right?
you need to purchase an additional mechanism.
And we would be getting that when we move the machine. That would be in the price of moving it.
so that machine right now is currently not wired, it goes on solar.
It's solar, but the problem with Ellis Street is, it's very shaded. You want it, the machine has been working fine lately, we've had a few things, Mark has been going out every time we have a problem. There's a lot of problems, but they're not bad problems. Money's getting jammed because people are using bad money, people don't understand, you can't
There is
stick
no bad money, Bob.
crinkling money. But people sometimes don't understand, and they're putting the wrong things in the wrong areas and things are
Right,
getting
no, I
stuck.
understand what you mean.
So there are a few problems like that, so Mark does go out and do a lot of maintenance on it, but it's all minor things, the machine has been working well since they changed the processor, Jay. I'd say we've really been relatively happy. We did have a problem last week, where the system for the credit cards went down.
I really think that was more than just us, because I happened to be in Rossetti's
It was their computer
that
system.
night, and their computer and phone were
It's
down.
the phone, it's
So
the
how
phone
did
lines
it
that cause
pay?
it.
But the actual
They
main,
got it up and running, trust me,
Phone lines,
we paid, but it was
Jamie,
a
it happens in
problem.
the restaurant business too.
Yeah.
Once your
Oh,
phone
yeah.
lines get
Oh,
affected, you
constantly.
can't use your credit cards,
Right,
it's like
yeah.
shutdown
Yeah.
mode.
Yeah, you're paying cash.
It's very
Yeah,
frustrating,
but
because I
wait,
can't
yeah.
count anymore, because
Yeah.
everything, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
But,
I've heard of that.
I did talk to the company, and it was their problem at their main thing, they had to actually reboot all their computers to make it work again.
Alright, so,
That doesn't happen that often, but Tasso and me both can attest that it does happen. But other than that, that machine has been working well.
I will say, I don't think that was the machine, my personal opinion is that was not anything we could have controlled.
No.
I think that was an outside
so what's the next step?
issue.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, we're gonna wait till that thing works correctly, move it. We're gonna go out to bids the machine, will be moved at that point by them, we'll have to get a price on it, but ISD can wire it.
Give us a schedule on, you know, for going out.
You're
to
looking
bid.
at 8 weeks, excuse me, 8 weeks.
8 weeks for what?
The whole bidding process to the finish with the pad and everything, you're looking for a process about 8 weeks before you can actually have a price with the kiosk to go in.
Not the work, but the bids.
Kiosk bids to go in.
Okay,
It's a long you have to follow the state guidelines.
okay, yeah, that's fine, okay, say
But
8
this is
We
the
weeks.
want to follow the state guidelines.
We will.
But we've learned a lot the last couple of weeks when they come out and they're showing us things, we have to, the padding's just wrong, everything's gonna be changed. And we gotta do it the right way, not Mickey Mouse.
And who's gonna be working on those bids?
Community development and myself.
Community development's gonna work on the bids?
John and, Mike.
Okay.
Unless you wanna do it, Jay.
No, I don't know what community development has to work.
Well, they did it last time. So,
Okay.
it's probably.
If you'd like to
I
do
mean,
it,
it doesn't
Is
matter.
there an advantage to anything, I mean,
No, it doesn't matter.
do you wanna keep it with us, Jay?
Do you have somebody who can work on it?
No.
Cause it doesn't matter.
I'd be more than, you know,
well, if community development's working on that, then we should be aggressive on the other stuff,
yeah, we get the lots, we get the
the
lines,
seal
the
coating and
seal
the
coating.
relining, so, I mean, we should be busy, I mean, that's 2 major projects, that's probably the 2 biggest projects that the history of the parking lots, I think, have ever gone through, so I think it would be a major.
Again, Jay, when
That's
they
for
do it,
sure.
they're gonna come back to us and we're gonna
Yeah.
approve the final package. They're not gonna put it out without you looking
Yeah,
at
they're
it.
just putting it together.
They're not gonna put it out without you looking at it.
Are you comfortable with that?
All right.
And the only other quick little thing, the DPW has volunteered to fix the 4 holes in the Johnson Street lot. George Potter says he'll be out there within the next week or 2. And
Okay.
he'll fix those 4 holes, just,
That would be
Can
good.
I ask one question
Till
about the
next time.
2-gate thing?
Yes.
It's only for my clarification, I'm not trying to change anything. You pull a ticket on the way in,
Mhm.
you pay at an automated machine at the end
No,
when
yes,
you leave?
yes.
yes.
Okay.
Just like a
Well,
parking
because
garage
you
in
know, if you
Boston.
read the things in the paper, which sometimes I do and sometimes I
Mhm.
don't, it's, well, you're gonna have to have somebody there, all, you're gonna pay somebody for that, and I'm like, I don't think so. I'm thinking to myself, is that
I
right?
think I remember
Made
you
me
have
think,
someone there.
we
on
don't
Boston
have
Street.
to have a human being there to collect money.
No, you need,
No.
you need to, you
The
need,
automated
you
machine
need
when you pull
enforcement
up.
though, you need
Well,
enforcement.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
talking
actually
about
think
the
this-
actual workings of the 2 gates. Pull a
Right.
ticket, and
No
at the
person.
other end, it's not a person collecting your money, it is the
Machine.
machine.
Correct.
And then,
So tell
if
me-
and when we decide there are free nights or weekends or days or a
Gates
day
go
we
on.
give, the gates go
Okay.
up.
You drive up in your Porsche,
Oh, yes.
okay, and,
And I have a Corvette,
you,
thank you.
you roll down your window and then
Yes.
all of a sudden your ticket pops out,
Oh, that I
Gate-
understand,
gate
it's when
lift.
you go out, where do you put the
put
ticket
the
that tells
ticket
you
right
how
back
much
in
you
there.
owe?
right
In the
back
machine.
right back in the
And
machine.
it'll tell you, give
Paid
me
it.
50
Tells
bucks.
you how much you, all right, yeah, I got a Porsche.
You stayed
I can
a week.
pay 50
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a Porsche, you
Okay.
can pay $50
Everybody else is too.
an hour.
I've never done it that way before.
Yeah, but
It's
that's-
always
that's
get a ticket on
basically
the
what
way
they-
in and a
that's
person.
basically
And a
everybody's
person on the
using
way
right
out,
now.
which is what I
Yeah.
think people think, so I just wanted to
That's
make
what
sure
I
I was
was-
not mistaken.
yeah.
And we're gonna, you know, and the parking attendants,
Well, the only problem with this automation and everything is, you're still gonna need enforcement. We
Oh,
have 4
absolutely.
We have 4 parking attendants right now. We should probably be making a recommendation to the mayor's office right now to add a 5th person into next July's budget, so. They're doing the budgets right now, I don't know if we could actually suggest, maybe Jamie
Well,
might have a
you-
little clout.
to your point, Bob, we're
We're
losing
losing some
parking, we're losing some parking attendants, right?
Yeah,
Lost
so let's put
some
a,
revenue, so the most important thing is enforcement.
yeah, I would say we should try to get Judy to put a 5th one into the, if you have any clout. I think the board should ask if the parking department could have another person. And then the only other little thing is, adding into, I think you're gonna give us a good update on the Pocket Summit. But, again, there is a question of if you go to any shows or anything, people do pay to get in. if you wanted to put a person out there to collect money at the shows.
Currently, someone's charging $15 in the city to park.
Yes,
They are?
next to the courthouse, $15 a
The
head.
church?
The courthouse parking, that little gated thing, but next to the juvenile court.
Really?
Who owns that?
I don't know, but they were out there for the last
Kleins.
show, $15.
That's
I
the
thought
building
that was
I
a
work
lot
in.
of money.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought that was an awful lot of money.
I don't
Did
know
they
what
get
she's
it?
charging, I have.
But if you go to a show in
spots,
Boston, you
so
pay.
I'll be sitting.
I went to the parking side, it cost me $34 to go to that.
I know, it's true, thank you, yeah.
Cost me
But we're not
34,
Bostonians.
36 to go to my sister's for Easter.
Well, my point is, we don't want to be a deterrent when people come down with shows, and charging people $5 to park, for an event, is really nothing.
No,
I mean, as long as that money that goes back into these lots,
it should go back into the lots.
so, I mean, goes into cleaning, and
Yes, it should.
And that's what we found out in this parking summit, that charging for parking is not the enemy, but as long as that money keeps coming back and you get the improvements. So I think when people get the value of, parking, the clean lots, lined properly,
Mhm.
so, I think it's a way to go. I mean, we'll look at it, we can put a kid out there for, probably part of the program, or whatever program, collect $5, or what is it, 100, they can make $1,000, pay the kid, $10, $15, it's a good, I think it's a good investment. I mean, you can make about $800 a show on parking lots, but I mean, that's only charging $5. You tell me you can go anywhere and park your car for $5. So, and, I'd like to get the mayor's opinion on that also. If she doesn't think it's a bad idea, I'd like to continue that discussion for the next meeting. Another thing that, I've talked to, Jim Caldell, the executive director of EDIC, and Jamie Marsh about waste, the city's doing, there's a lot of conversation about wayfinding signage. And we were talking about improving our signage. That's one of that's another important element to what we're trying to do is, people are coming to these parking lots and they have no direction.
But I
And
would,
they don't know anything about enforcement rules and stuff like that, and there's a lot of gray area, and I'm sure you get the arguments on Monday morning. So, if we're gonna be doing our signage over, and we're gonna, come with the context of that signage, let's do something uniform with the rest of the downtown area.
I think we should kinda wait too for the kiosk quotes to come in, because maybe when we're pouring the pads, we could put a thing in for a sign there, or, we might wanna coincide, we don't know what the kiosk is, the gates are gonna look like, maybe there's someplace there we can incorporate it in.
But the
That would also
conversation-
have some rates, a parking sign, and then some rates below and directions below, cause we want people to be informed what to do in the
The
lots.
wayfinding signage also came up in the traffic study, the current traffic study that they're doing, and, the city's in need of, proper signage, so if we're gonna do something, I said, I made a suggestion, let's do everything uniform, so, everything looks, good, pretty good. So instead of doing, right now, we can only get our signs from, DPW, which helps us out, but it's, sometimes it's like blurred vision. The other thing is, Jamie Marsh from Community Development is paying for $15,000 illuminated parking, big P, blue
It's
P
a big
illuminated,
fee.
right on Market Street, so when people's driving out from City Hall to Market Street, they'll know where Andrew Street is, so
Oh.
they'll take that left, right?
Yeah.
And, the money was better, they'll be paying for that.
Did I send you that picture?
Yes, you did.
They,
And it's
gonna
great.
be going down Andrew or?
I believe it's gonna be on Market Street, the corner of Market Street.
Pointing down Liberty.
Pointing down Liberty.
Liberty,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know, Tasso, that it really isn't, the off-streets purview over on-street, but I don't know if you wanna talk about what they were saying about meters and, charging more for your premium
Yeah,
spots.
I mean, there's been debate and discussion, obviously, the reason, they took out the meters is to really to get the downtown.
Well, I was saying what the
stuff like
seminar
that.
said.
What the seminar said, and this is what the chief expert, I forgot his name, is Professor Roosh, I think, from UCLA.
Yes,
He says there's no correlation that parking meters are a deterrent towards the economy. They're not. It isn't. That's according to the lead professor on parking. And Metropolitan Planning Council had him as their guest speaker, #1 keynote speaker. And I think, he's an expert. He's studied parking his whole life. Who am I to debate him? So what some cities and towns done to solve their parking problems, and they minimize the pricing on their parking lots. They made it really affordable and cheap on their parking lots. But they did put meters in there, and they did charge a price for their meters. What had happens was, they saw more people using their parking lots, and it freed up space on the streets for business. It happens like every 8 spots, there was an opening. And that system, there was always a flow of free parking on street parking. Off-street parking is some lots that they were going into variable pricing. Not all lots should be the same price. Some lots that are overused, they did an increase. And what they did is they lowered the price of lots that weren't used, so they saw a flow from the overused lots going into the other lots.
That makes sense.
And, they also deterred, they also made their determination of where the 15-minute parking should be, and then it should vary from 30-minute parking to 1-hour parking to 2-hour parking. And obviously you can, and it leaves open to discussion to offer a discount to your residents also. Maybe give them a sticker, but cities of Salem, Somerville, all the residents pay. But they also offer them, more incentives. So, and that's something that, we'll have a discussion on, coming up. On that note, Mary, under new business, maybe I should wait to bring this up. You got a letter about,
I got an email from SHP Management, and they manage the Rolf House at 7 Willow Street and the Fabens Building at 312 Union Street. And the elderly in those buildings have some spaces in our lots. I believe there's, Bob, is it 8 spaces in the Ella Street lot?
Yes.
And 18 spaces in the Buffum Street lot, and they are no longer gonna pay for the elderly. They are going to tell them that they need to pay themselves. They've always been discounted, when I came into the parking department, they've always been discounted. So I don't know when this took place, but I need to get back to this lady and let her know what's gonna happen with these people, if they can be allowed to stay there, and what they will be charged to stay there.
currently how much, well, this company was paying a portion or
They
all
were paying
all of their parking, costs for the month, and the parking costs were what, 14?
I believe it was about $14 a month.
$14 a month,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
as that Pocket Summit said,
Yeah.
if we're looking to do a reduced rate for the elderlies,
Yeah.
we're having a major problem with Buffalo. A lot of these cars are there during the day, maybe we should be directing them only to the Ella Street. Some of these cars don't move quite a bit,
Some of them are handicapped, or they can't even walk from,
but some of them don't
I
move at
was
all.
gonna say that, cause they're
Right.
out really from the
for some of them.
garage.
Well, how about if we did something on the Union Street lot for them? That needed spaces. That lot is never full. Buffum's at a
It's
premium.
not, but we don't control that, do we?
Yes, we
Yes.
do.
We do?
That's one of your lots.
Union, where is that?
So,
In between the furniture store?
at the time,
The old
Oh,
Brooks.
okay.
well,
That's a hard one.
it's a hard one, but
It is.
Yeah.
is there a way we can, is this program already stopped?
No.
When is it ceasing to exist?
Oh, let's see what she said here. They will continue to pay, they have 2 managers that work there, and the managers pay the $45 a month. They don't get the senior discount, so they will continue to do that, effective June 1st. They will, so the month of May is paid, but June 1st, they're on their own.
Are those spaces actually used? Does everybody use those
Oh, yeah.
spaces?
Oh, they have a waiting list.
They
So
do?
we're talking about 24 spaces in total? 8 on one and 18 on the
Yeah,
other?
24 to 26. Yeah.
What would you, any recommendations, if we can move them somewhere where, for now, for the time being, just, maybe until we get a, I'd like to review it a little more,
What if we?
one thing, we're all sensitive towards,
unless
What
you
if
wanna
we would
have
give them
Senior
free
citizens,
parking at
be
one of
be
the
nice to the seniors.
less
Yes.
used,
Well,
until we figure out what we're gonna do? You don't think,
Mm.
Mary doesn't think that's a good idea?
Because everybody wants free parking.
The other thing is,
I
Counselor,
just
they all
meant
gonna want
those
it if they have to pay
people
now.
that was
Sorry?
subsidized.
They
It
all
was
want it
just
if
a
they have
thought.
to pay,
Sorry.
and are you gonna grandfather only the ones there, or are you gonna keep a waiting list?
We always.
You could-
Now I really
You
don't
could
understand what
grandfather
we're
the
talking
spots.
about.
no,
If somebody
What-
moves out,
right,
somebody else would get that spot.
So
Oh.
there would always be
At that
24
discounted
spaces.
price.
I don't think we
Right.
should be doing
It's
that.
always been the same amount of
No.
spaces,
Yes.
Right.
and if
But-
somebody happened to move or.
And it's $14 now, is what they're
You
paying?
may just wanna have it dwindle.
15,
I
whatever it is.
I would recommend we dwindle it.
To what?
dwindle.
Dwindle it out,
When
so
somebody's
there's
gone.
none, so there's no
Maybe like,
spots.
at the time being, I would say grandfather these people in and maybe, trying to find different locations or.
Yeah, what if we were to say,
Don't you think
and
that?
I'm not making a motion right now, but what
I
if
mean,
we were
at
to
the end of the
say
day, it's gonna be $14 a month,
$14 a month
which is.
at a less used lot?
$14 a month to the company and have the company pay us.
I'm sorry, what?
No.
Let them collect the money.
No,
from
the
people.
company is
What?
saying they don't wanna
They don't want
do
anything
it.
to do with it.
They don't want anything to
I
do
know,
with it.
but we haven't gone back to them with anything yet. Maybe if they know that the option is either do this or we end it.
Mary, is it the same price, both lots, or was it a different price?
It's the same in both.
Oh, now I understand what you're saying.
There's so many spots, they're $14 a month.
Right.
He's
But
talking
we-
about if somebody leaves.
I thought, Mary,
Don't
some of them were
give it
more
to someone
money
else.
and some were less. I thought some were 18 and some were 14. I thought
And-
they
and
gave
if-
two prices.
So regular, the full amount is 45,
Doesn't mean,
am I correct?
Mhm.
So that's a
the full amount is-
hugely significant
Yeah.
It
discount.
is, right.
It is.
Some of them may make the decision not to
To take
stay,
it.
right, if they have to pay it on their own. Financially may not be able to,
There's a few cars that don't move.
Can
and
we,
people just leave them there, so they may decide to get rid of the cars.
right?
It's too bad, we should have had someone here from them. Maybe, maybe the residents themselves, maybe we can.
But if you granted them a grace period next month, and then it's gonna start the
Can
following
we, can
month.
you ask them for an extension? If we can, we would like to meet, we'd like to have one more meeting,
You
and we
mean
can make
in
it,
An extension for them paying?
yeah, maybe a week or no?
They're
Because I'd
not,
like to meet,
they're not gonna pay anymore. They're paid through the month of May, and they said
Wanna
as
have a
of
meeting
June
at the end
first,
of the
they're on their
month, see
own.
if they can come?
okay,
If we give them June for free, that's opening the door.
Yeah.
So we can't
Oh,
do
yeah, no.
so,
How about if you just let them park for the month of June if they pay, and then you'll address it in June with the final decision? If the people come into the parking
what we-
department and pay in the month of June,
What they're paying now.
what they're paying now,
Yeah.
They're not paying.
and that way we'll no,
Well,
what
no,
the
what the
company's
company
paying.
is paying for them.
And then in
$14.
June, you'll have an idea, if they don't all come in, they're not gonna be looking for that many spots, which will give us an idea of how many people are gonna be looking for the spots.
Who's gonna take the responsibility to notify them that they have to come to
They
the
will.
They
parking
will
department?
do that,
Okay.
because
How is
she,
that,
They're
Mr. Chairman?
right here. A memo will go out to the tenants in the
Yeah,
next few
that's the
days informing
easiest.
them of this
So I'll
change.
make a motion.
And we'll have your contact
Okay.
information, so if they choose to continue parking in the municipal lots with their parking pass, then they will need to pay you guys directly.
So I'll make a motion that Mary respond to that email, that, the individuals should come into the parking department and pay for,
Month
they
of
can pay
June.
the discounted rate for the month of June.
month of June.
And we'll try to,
And we'll address it at the next meeting.
Mary, do we need them to sign up
motion.
something new, or the
I'll second
paperwork
it.
is fine?
Second,
We have all the
Discussion?
paperwork on file.
all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Mary, we're gonna have, contact them, okay, and then also invite them, we'll invite them to the next meeting. We can set that meeting tonight, or we can set that meeting, a little later on via email. And Bernice, we can get Bernice on email also for her email.
I have her email.
Okay, so we do a lot of emailing
Very
together,
good, she's
so.
already
Okay.
got it done.
I mean,
The only other thing, Tasso, I don't know if the board wants to make a recommendation to the mayor to make one of the parking attendants a leader person in next year's budget that's coming out in July. That's going to the council. I don't know if Judy would consider that if somebody put some pressure on her. We get parking attendants now, if we could add a meter person, we're gonna need somebody to enforce the lots if she wants to do it the right way, we're gonna need another person.
Everybody was instructed to cut their budget
I
by
know
2%.
I know that. But again, a
That's
meter
how we
person,
did ours.
Yeah.
Yep. but a meter person would bring in more revenue than what it would cost the city. I'm just
Right.
throwing it out. And I do understand what you're saying,
Right,
respectively.
in respect to the mayor's budget, your budget was lower because you lost some,
We cut out the attendance.
can you tell us how many, before, who did we lose on the payroll now? You lost two parking attendants, correct?
We lost Dan Glowick, who passed away.
Yeah,
We lost Beverly Wiley, who retired.
okay,
Mike Zorbis, who retired.
Right,
and Iggy Dorgan is still working 15 hours. And in the meantime, we've hired Kevin, the second dog officer that's working right now, to man the Buffalo Street lot. Correct, Jay? That's all there were, right? 3 retired, 3?
Kevin Farnsworth.
okay,
No,
No.
Kevin B. said he
now,
He's the new acting.
Okay.
now, with all those, you know, positions not being there, would a parking attendant, I mean, would a new, meter maid, cost more, or
Same money, but
Same rate of pay.
same rate of pay?
you really need the enforcement.
But are you increasing the budget, that's what I'm trying to say,
Yes,
by,
you'd definitely be increasing it,
okay,
but you'd also be enhancing the revenue for the city. And it's not as much about the revenue enhancement as it is, most of your downtown businesses, most of your people want the parking. If you're dropping off groceries to your house, you're not gonna be able to get the groceries in a 1-hour zone or a 2-hour zone if people park there all the time. You need that move over cars for the residents to be able to get their stuff in and out. You need it for the businesses to get customers in and out. And you need it in the lots to make sure everything is moving correctly.
It's funny to you, when you're saying that, during this Metropolitan Planning Council Parking Summit, there's gotta be discussions between on-street and off-street continuously, there's a big correlation.
Correct.
They cannot be separate. It's having to, it's like, you know, your wife's in the next room and you're talking, you're in the other room and you're trying to communicate. There's a connection between on-street and off-street, and that's what most of the cities and towns that made the improvements, they work together. And there was a formula, and it varied from block to neighborhood, block to block. I mean, because not all blocks are the same. There's some that are more busy than others, so, you know, the pricing was different on busy areas, and to entice more people going to another area, they lowered and made it more price, you know, attractive. So it was called variable pricing. That was the key thing that I got from all the leading experts. In Somerville and Haverhill and Salem were there, and they were all agreeing, and this is the way to go. So it's a system that they're incorporated in, and it is a free flow of traffic.
And they're
And
all
at the
putting the
same
meters
time-
back in.
They make the parking lots, you know, for people that wanna go to the restaurants and bars, they're still cheap. I mean, Boston, you have to pay $25 to $30. Right, we're not
Minimum.
Boston, we're far from
Right.
Boston. But $5 is not, you know, it's a cost. I mean, but we're paying, now we're improving our lots, we're gonna have, hopefully, we're gonna have, you know, resurfacing, you know, we're gonna have automation, they're gonna have cleaner lots. So
Hopefully
there's a service to
security.
be paid for that. There's a value to be paid for that. And what we're asking is, eventually, if we decide to ever put meters back, that money's gonna be used for the downtown business area, and it stays for the downtown business area. And, you know, that's, and what we saw an example of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and how it was a downridden, you know, city, and then they brought parking, and they started, you know, bringing in businesses, and they started generating the money that was generated from their parking, and it went to beautifying, landscaping, cleaning, lighting, and cameras. So, that's another discussion for another day, but,
If another seminar's next year, I'd recommend anybody go. It was
Yeah,
really a
it's-
very enlightening seminar.
it's the experts knowing their stuff, and that, you know, I'm not a parking expert, I don't play one on TV either, but when this Professor Roosh, and I think you should look him up, UCLA, I think there's a link, and we can get you that link, I don't know if you have it, you know, Seth, so it's pretty interesting, because his speech and his presentation is on this link, and maybe I can forward it to you guys if you want to look at it. I will forward it actually to everybody, because we had everybody captivated. I mean, he's the leading expert on parking in this country. So he has years of like practice, and I only have about a couple months of practice. And so, that being said, anything on new business? Any old business?
I asked my old business question.
Yes, you did. Do we have, oh, one more thing, if I can, on what's really old business. Getting, who's gonna write the bid for, the audit? We were talking about, who's gonna work on that? Jay, can you take the lead on that?
Yeah, what is it?
Well, we wanna put an audit on off-street. You know, we had Andy Hill, you know, make a presentation on us, but we haven't really, we need to put that out to bid, correct? What's the process?
I think we should coordinate
Somebody
it.
needs to draft an RFP for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we should coordinate that with our chief financial officer and our controller. but-
Okay, can you take on that responsibility?
Yeah.
maybe have something by the next meeting? Because it's been over a year that we've been talking about this, and, I mean, I'm quoting the paper saying, you know, we're gonna do an audit, so, I mean, is it the commission
We
that starts the
wanna-
process, or is it you?
Well, it's gonna be at your request.
Oh,
It has
it has
to.
to- that's been-
and we'll
that's
have,
been
we made the motion to pay for it, so we'll pay for it, but we don't wanna use anybody that's city retained, or that has any past experience dealing with the city.
That's your
That,
decision.
no, that's the.
Yeah, that was a
that's
motion a
the-
long time
that was a
ago.
motion a
wasn't
long
it?
time ago.
It was, okay.
That was a unanimous approval by
Mhm.
this current, without Bernice being present, obviously,
Right.
is we wanna use, if we're gonna use a consultant, we wanna use someone that's outside the city, never worked for the city, no connections to the city.
So we get a
Independent,
non-biased.
Independent.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I mean, you know,
so
they're
Jay,
gonna be
you're gonna
validated.
take the lead on that, and
Yeah.
you're gonna include us in the process. And can you give us a timeline on that? See, now you don't have to deal with the, community development is dealing with the other stuff, so now you get some free time.
Yeah, but I'll try to do it as quickly as possible.
I know.
If we could put some meat around the issue of what do you mean by an audit, because understand that all of the finances
Mhm.
are under the city's auspices and part of their audit.
Well,
So
I think
the
that
only
we can-
thing they're gonna be doing is coming in and validating, okay, if you will, that aspect. It's not like we have a separate salary. Our income is basically what you see here out of the lots. On the expense side, it's relatively limited, but it's integrated into the parking audit. Because there's no, I'm the only person that has a contractual relationship with this committee.
The audit is of the off-street parking?
Correct,
Nothing to do with the parking?
nothing.
No, we have nothing to do.
So
And
it's
we
a
have
separate
report
entity.
It's a separate
From
entity,
Andy
right.
Hill that can help with
Yeah.
their,
I mean, Andy Hill compiled, Andy Hill from Desmond Associates, he's just been giving us a consultation, pro bono. And, he made a presentation to us about the current status of our lots and what needs to be done. And, also talks about jurisdiction. And, he talks about the relationship with Off-Street and the revenue going to, to the general fund.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And he's also talking about, some safety issues, he had concern. Also, how we generate our funding and how that funding is implemented.
That's my biggest question,
Right.
is how is it generated other than the
Right.
sale of a lot? All the income
Correct.
goes to the general
Correct.
fund?
Correct.
But he,
How do you go about changing that?
but that's where a
To go to the
consultant,
city
an
council.
independent consultant, these experts can really open our eyes onto new things and how we should be conducting business.
Oh, okay.
That's what, we're not asking for a financial audit then. We're asking for management, because if we ask for a financial audit,
Operational,
they're
management,
just, they're not gonna
financial.
come in.
Financial, everything.
Wait a
I think everything, Jay, I think financial, operational.
Okay, because a CPA firm is not gonna come in here and do a financial audit and in the process of doing that
I don't think we
audit.
need a CPA firm, I think it was a forensic audit that we need to do. That was the original thought, all the nuts and bolts of this
Okay.
department.
if they get the parking department records, it's freedom of information anyway, so all
No, no,
that,
no, no,
they can get all
that's
that
not-
anyway.
That-
I mean, even though it's
If you're gonna look for any audit firm to come in, but you anticipate that as a result of that audit, they're gonna be making management recommendations, that's a different type of audit, is what, all's I'm saying. It's not a financial audit. A
Right.
financial audit you could do in 10 minutes.
right, no,
Okay.
it's gonna be a full overhaul.
Yeah, and I, with all due respect, I don't think it's a forensic audit either, because by the very definition of what a forensic audit is, it's negative.
I don't know. What-
And I don't think you wanna give that connotation, but
Well, he asked for that, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
Yeah,
you
I don't
wanna
know
do
what
a
that
management
means.
audit. I think.
No. No.
A management audit would include
The
how
finances,
it's run, how
everything,
it's
right.
separated, and how
Right.
much, and
Right.
some of the
I
money
think
that's
an
involved.
overview audit.
Is it more broad? It's more broad.
An overview audit.
Right, right.
Right, a forensic audit, I'm not an accountant, but it seems to me that anytime anybody in the state has a forensic audit, it's because somebody's done something illegal, and that is not what we're implying, and that's not what we're looking for.
Well, that's different from the state. This, the forensic audit of parking is something that just, it looks at all the nuts and bolts of whatever is directly, you know, the ongoing dealings of this off-street parking commission. I mean, the off-street parking department.
I think that would be a management audit. but
Okay, then
that's-
now we can call it a
I'm just-
management audit. I have no problem what we call it,
Right.
but I mean,
We want an overall audit of
an
the
overall audit.
off-street only.
Right. And it's been over a year since we started talking about this, and I think, you know, so that's really a priority for us to move, you know, forward. Because he can make recommendations about the parking department, but that's not what we're asking him. You know, he was asking questions when we first came on here. How does the off-street and the parking department work, and how does how is your salary paid in off-street in comparison to parking department? So there was some gray area when we first came on too. And I'm sure Bernice has a lot of those questions too.
Yes.
So, and if it's explained to us and it's broken down, I think we can also relay it, to the public also. So, if, you know, so you'll start that process, and you'll include me, and I'll include my fellow commissioners on the information. You clear now? You good? Because I can't adjourn until you're happy,
Yeah, I'm happy.
Shane's always happy.
right?
Well, then that.
I'm not
motion to
unhappy, I
adjourn.
just not.
Yeah.
A motion to adjourn, do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion,
That would be Jamie.
Jamie, Bernie seconded.